friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a story time about my gynecologist from hell. So yeah, I said in a vlog actually that I was going to make a whole video on this because I just had like the worst experience ever, and I just really needed to like talk about it because it was honestly like kind of funny, like how bad it was. So yeah, if you guys aren't subscribed to my vlog channel, by the way, I've been uploading videos every other day, so I'll link it as a card up here, and it's always in the description as well if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, so I guess we should just go right into this story, man. So I guess I kind of have to explain why I was going to the gynecologist. I've been for wellness checkups before. I've been to another place that I really loved, but then they stopped taking my insurance. So basically I went on Humana insurance. So it gave me like a whole list of people to choose from, and I remember like I had a yeast infection basically. And if you don't know what a yeast infection, it's like super common in women. You can like look it up if you want to. I know it sounds kind of gnarly, but it really wasn't that gnarly. It's just itchy. So I had this yeast infection for like 3 weeks, and I was just like, okay, this is just really extreme. This has never happened to me for this long before, and like the things that I was trying to cure it were just not curing it. So I was like, you know what, I gotta see a gynecologist. So like I said, I go on Humana, I was looking at all the doctors, and I found this one man, Dr. Cox, and I'd found other doctors as well on the list, but Dr. Cox could see me the soonest, so I just booked an appointment, didn't think anything of it, didn't read any reviews on him at all, and I just like went when the day came. So my appointment rolls around, it was at 2:30, I show up at 2:35 because I literally could not find the place. They said it was suite 800, and I opened, yeah, first off, this was like a sign of like it being the wrong place, you know, it was just gonna be downhill from here. They told me it was suite 800, and I go to the place and I open the door of suite 800 and it's just construction workers, and I was like, So I wandered around the building for a solid, you know, 5 minutes just trying to find my way. I like wandered into other places being like, do you know where the gynecologist is? And they were all like, no. Like nobody in the building knew where it was. So then I call them, right? And I'm like, hey, what suite is it? Because I'm here, but like I'm lost. And they're like, oh, it's 700. And I was like, okay, bitch, didn't say that in the email, but so I show up a little bit late, 2:35, but you know, kind of in LA, everybody shows up 5 to 10 minutes late. So I get my paperwork, I'm signing in, I'm like filling out the new patient form and all that kind of stuff. I literally, I didn't have a bad experience at this point. I wasn't thinking anything of it. It was just protocol. So it probably took me about like, I don't know, 10 minutes to do the paperwork. It was pretty quick. I just like turned it in, and then I was just waiting there for a while, just like, you know, time's ticking, where am I? Just tapping my foot, being like, all right, thought I was getting seen at 2:30. I know I had to do the paperwork, but like, where is this guy? And so I ended up asking like, where is Dr. Cox? Is he even in the office? Because I hadn't seen him. And yes, it was a him, which I didn't really think anything of. I was like, whatever, you know, I went to a lady doctor the first time, but you know, why not try out a man doctor? What's the harm? And the ladies behind the desk were like, oh yes, Dr. Cox is on his way. He's just at another office right now. So I was like, okay, I have to like wait on him to get here. Like I was under the impression my appointment was at 2:30, but all right, I'll just wait. I'm not gonna cause any problems. So then finally one of the assistant ladies is like, okay, we're ready for you now. And I was like, okay, here I go. And we go back into this room, and it's literally just me and her in this very small looking room. And there was just like pictures of like babies and like mothers on the wall. And I was like, where am I? So it was just me and her. She was like interviewing me about my sex life and asking all of these questions, which I get, you know, they're a doctor for your vagina. So they're asking all the questions about the vagina, what goes down there. And then she was like, okay, now we're gonna take your urine sample. So here's your little cup. You just go down the hall and around the corner, and then you'll find the bathroom. And I literally took like a bathroom key. It was like I was in school again. It had like a literal gift box attached to it so that you wouldn't forget the key. So I take my gift box and key and the urine cup, and I'm like, here I go. And as I was walking down the hall, I was like, wow, there's a lot of people in this hallway. Like, I think there was another office down the hall or something. There was like a lot of kids just like crowding by the elevator. You had to walk by the elevators to get to the bathroom. So I was like, am I supposed to like walk back holding my cup of pee in front of all of these people? I guess that's what's happening. I guess so. So I pee in my cup, you know, wipe it off with the antibacterial wipe so nobody's hands get polluted. And I literally just hold that and my gift box key again and like shuffle back down the hallway. And people were like staring at me being like, that bitch is holding pee. And then I go into the office, and keep in mind, it's like a very small space. Like it literally looked like a hallway. It was just like the lady at the window and a row of seats. And I go in, and there's like 6 other people in there at this point. I was just like by the door, just like holding my pee, just being like, who do I give this to? Like she didn't tell me who to give it to. And then the assistant lady who had helped me like opens the door and is like, I'll take your urine. Literally, literally, I'm not fucking kidding, she said that. And then I just like shuffle in, like feeling super awkward, and like hand her off my pee like it's a weird drug deal or something. And then probably like 15 more minutes go by, and then she takes me back into the actual like gynecology room. I don't know what the actual room is called, the examination room, I suppose. It's the place with the stirrups, like you put your feet on the stirrups and then it's just full frontal view of your vagina. And so I go in and sit down, and she's like, just go ahead and get completely naked and put on the paper robe, and Dr. Cox will be here in a few minutes. And I was like, yeah, okay. And so then I literally just stripped nude, was sitting there, and I was also Snapchatting this experience, so you guys probably saw some of the Snapchats. I kid you not, I was just sitting there in the nude for probably 45 minutes. And I started texting Lindsay being like, this is so annoying, like my appointment was at 2:30, it's like 4 o'clock now, what the heck am I supposed to do? And she was like, dude, it's 4 o'clock, you should probably do something, you should say something, put your clothes back on, peep your head out of the door and be like, hey, I'm here, like, am I gonna be helped? And so that's literally what I did. And I opened the door, and right when I opened the door, the lady looks at me and is like, Dr. Cox is almost here. And I was like, okay, well, my appointment was at 2:30, so, and I was getting sassy, like I was annoyed, you know, I had places to be. I wasn't trying to spend my entire afternoon at the gynecologist like they were making me do. So I sassily closed my door and just sat on the table, and I didn't get nude again. No, no, no. And I didn't put on the paper robe again because I was like, I don't need my boobs examined. I know they're fine. There aren't any tumors in here. I can do the check myself. And I was wearing a skirt, so I just took off my underwear and like stuffed them in my purse and was just sitting there like with my legs crossed waiting on frickin' Dr. Cox. And then he finally shows up at 4:10, and he opens the door and looks at me and is like, oh, I'm gonna go back out because you gotta put on the paper robe. And I was like, no sir, I don't need to put on the paper robe. I already, like, I'm wearing a skirt, I already took off my underwear, I don't need my breasts checked today. I literally just need down there checked, that's it. And so then he just starts his roster of questions, and he's just asking me basically what the same lady had just asked me. And I was just like, why didn't they just pass on the information to each other? Like, where was the communication? There was none. So then I was just like annoyed that I was answering all of the same questions, so I was being kind of short with him, and he was asking just like really weird questions too, so I was kind of like laughing at some of them. And one of the questions he asked me was, are you wearing tight panties? And I was like, what? No, my underwear is not tight, sir. Please don't refer to them as panties. I'm wearing just regular fitting underwear every day. It's just been kind of itchy down there, and I just like, I don't know what it is. It's not my underwear. I haven't bought any new underwear. He was like, are you using any new products down there? And I was like, no, pretty much just the same body wash for the past like 6 months. Nothing really too risky going on down there. I just kind of wanted him to get on with it. Just go ahead, let's bite the bullet, let's have you examine me and get me the heck out of here. And then my interview was finally over, and then he just kind of like awkwardly walked over to me sitting on the table, and then he was like, okay, lay on back and we can examine the breasts. And I was like, sir, I told you like I don't need a breast examination today. I got that done like 3 months ago. Like, it's fine. I don't need it. And he was like, might as well just check. And so then like I lay down, and keep in mind I don't have the freaking paper robe on. I just have like my shirt on. So he like sticks his hand under my shirt, and he was just like, like he wasn't even like talking me through it or try to make it less awkward. He was just like, yeah, like literally just feeling me up. And I realized this is a normal thing for a gynecologist to do, but I told him not to examine my boobs, and he did. So I just found that a little bit creepy and kind of like a little weird. And then he's like, all right, just put your feet in the stirrups. And so then like I put my feet up, and I kid you not, the second he gets down there, he's like, oh wait, gotta go get my assistant. Swings the door open while I am literally just exposed. And when you open the door, it's just a hallway. Like anybody could have walked by and just walked in and been like, oh hey, there's a vagina, you know? Like, who does that? Like, you could have just gone and got your assistant and then asked me to put my feet in the stirrups. Like, at this point, it was honestly funny. It was hilarious at how bad the experience was. And then he brings his assistant in, and it's the urine sample lady, and right when she walks in, she is greeted by my vagina. And I'm sure they don't like think anything of it, but I myself just felt very uncomfortable. And then he just like sat back on his seat, rolled over to check me out, and then gets his little clamp. And I don't want to scare you guys if you've never been to the gynecologist, because normally it's a pretty fine experience. The lady that I first had my first time going talked me through the entire thing and let me know what she was doing so I would know what was going on down there, which I really appreciated. But he did not do this at all. He just went right on in there and just, you know, yanked that bad boy open. I think he like did a little swab in there to check for yeast, and he was like, yeah, well, I just didn't see any yeast in there. I mean, I swabbed you for it. We'll we'll test it off and see if the test comes back positive, because sometimes you can't see the yeast, so we'll see. And I was like, okay, awesome. So do you just call me for the test results and let me know? And he was like, yeah, we'll call you if anything's weird. So I was like, all right, well, I guess that's it. And right when he closed the door, I started crying because I just felt so uncomfortable, and it was just like such an awful experience. I felt so bad, and I felt like almost guilty. Like there was a sense of guilt over me at the end of it, like I had done a bad thing by going to the fucking doctor. And then I just collected myself and I went back out into the office, and when I got back out there, the lady was like, okay, so we're gonna need you to schedule another appointment to get your test results. And I was like, what? At the last gynecologist that I went to, they literally just called me. And so I just found it really weird that I had to schedule a full other appointment to come in and get my test results. So I was just like, ma'am, he told me that he would call me if anything was weird. I don't think I really have to schedule another appointment. And at this point, I didn't want to schedule another appointment because I hated all of the experience altogether. And she was like, no, it's confidential information. The doctor did not leave a note that he would call you, so I'm gonna need you to schedule another appointment. And she was like being rude. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess I can come back in. And so as I'm filming this, I literally have an appointment next week to go and get my test results, but I'm probably just gonna cancel it because fuck that. And also, I found out after the experience that they're rated 1 star on Yelp. They have like 3 reviews and all of them are like 1-star reviews. So obviously they're a very terrible place. Wouldn't recommend them at all. Oh, and the best part of this experience, I can't believe that I forgot to talk about this. When the lady was like interviewing me and stuff, she also took my blood. And normally getting blood drawn for me is a completely fine experience. I have never had any problems. I've never had bruising. I've never had any issues. And when she took the needle out of me, she goes, ooh, yeah, that's gonna bruise. And I was like, what? And look at it. Look at this fucking bruise. I was literally blown away by how awful this place was. Like everything that could have went wrong, went wrong. So I just really needed to make a story time video about it because it was just hilarious at how awful it was. But also by me making this, I don't want to scare you away from the gynecologist if you've never been. It's really not a scary place if you find the right one. I would recommend asking a friend who they go see, you know, reading your reviews, reading up on the place at least. I would also definitely suggest having a woman doctor if it's your first time, or really any time, because I just felt really uncomfortable having a man doctor this time. I just think that women in general are more caring towards your lady parts because they know the parts. So just do your research on the place, make sure that they're not a 1-star review on Yelp. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much the end of this story. Like I said, just really wanted to tell this. If you were entertained or enjoyed the story at all, give this video a big thumbs up for me. And also go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you are not already. I make videos like this and a bunch of other topics of videos and whatnot all the time, so join our fam, you know? And yeah, I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, stay smiling. Bye.
Here we go.